last night, or was it harder after everything happened yesterday?
Yeah, I was exhausted on the drive home, and could hardly keep my eyes open. And then once we got home and just started kind of unpacking everything, it was a little difficult to fall asleep last night. And just excited, obviously, with everything that transpired, and just happy for our players more than anything, because they're the ones that made the decision to stick with things and get to this spot.
First blush reaction to going to North Carolina, playing Oklahoma?
Yeah, known Skip since Region 14 East days when he was at Navarro Junior College. So he's obviously done a really good job there at Oklahoma. I know we're going to face a really good pitcher and a really good pitching staff. Just his line of expertise there, and yeah, I mean, we'll kind of dive into them a little bit more today, a little bit later today. Don't know a ton about their team at this point, but we'll take a look this afternoon.
How busy is the training room going to be this week before you guys head up there?
Already pretty busy, I think, this morning. Saw Robbie feeling a little tight this morning still. Overbeak is still hobbling around, still carrying the American flag too with him this morning. But no, he was. They're both a little sore. I just talking to Riley. He's like, my legs are cooked right now. But hopefully no other injuries pop up. But kind of been dealing with that kind of stuff all year. Stoney did tell me this morning they thought he might have dislocated his shoulder again on the dog pile, but he didn't. He's good.
Well, did you have any idea Chapel Hill would be your destination?
No. Just we just kind of go with the flow and figure out once they tell us where we're going, whether it's a bus or a plane trip. And yeah, we're excited. I've never been there before. Never been to Chapel Hill. I know they got an awesome setting, and yeah, we're excited to be part of it.
You said yesterday was a little emotional for you.
Yeah.
Today, just seeing your name come across the board and knowing these guys get to play one more week out of it.
Yeah, today's just more, I guess, excitement and just thankful for, again, just what these guys did this week to have a chance to continue to play. And, yeah, just this was a kind of an improbable type of scenario about a month and a half ago, I think, for a lot of people. But the guys in the clubhouse, they just kept believing, and that's why we're here.
When you get into this kind of a setting, I mean, what's the value in having so many guys that have kind of been through last year's regional and what you're facing this week?
I think that is a huge part of it because really nobody on the roster had played in a regional before last year. Now these guys all have. And I think maybe even more important than that is the schedule that we've played this year. I think we're more prepared to go in a regional type setting this year. Not that our schedule was a cakewalk last year by any stretch, but by kind of just looking at the field and the top 8, we've played, 4 games against the top 8, won 3. So we're battle tested and we've seen a lot of really good arms. And the run that we made through the tournament was just like a regional in my mind, just in terms of the ace pitching that we saw over the course of the 4 games.
With how you guys have been had to piece together pitching this year due to injury and other things, I mean, does that help you in a regional setting too?
I think so, especially if you get to Monday, just because you're going to be stretched a little bit thin with some arms. But, there was a lot of trial and error throughout the year just trying to cover those innings, and we found some guys maybe that we weren't sure that we were going to count on before the season started that we ended up counting on, and some guys really stepped up. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting. You never know what you're going to get in a regional. It could be, I think we had one year in 2017 at A&M. We made it, won a regional 3-0, and we used 5 pitchers. So, then you obviously go back to 2021 where we get to, Monday and use a ton of different arms, and Povich started 2 games. So just you never know what you're going to get.
Was there a point in the year when it felt like maybe the schedule was too difficult? Or did you kind of have to thread that needle a little bit between challenging but not too challenging?
Oh yeah, we were having those conversations, at points during the season. But we also knew if we could kind of just get through that, we weren't looking ahead that the schedule was getting easier, but it just was like, okay, like maybe we can catch our breath because we had the 2 home weekends at the end that helped certainly, no matter who you're playing, just being able to play at home for a larger stretch there at the end of the season was helpful. But yeah, I just think that's, when we're trying to be a top 16 seed, and I've not shied away from that goal. It's incredibly difficult to do that, and you have to challenge yourself, I think, with a schedule in order to be in that situation. And who knows how the season would have played out if we hadn't had those injuries, but it's made us who we are, and we're a tougher team because of it.
Coach, to be at where you were in the midway through the points and now having regional berth, can you speak to just how special this team is to make that happen?
Yeah, I just it speaks to the veteran presence in the clubhouse, and they've been through the ups and downs, particularly the guys that have been here for 4 years, just staying the course and just really refusing to give in. You've got to have that, in the clubhouse, and the want to and the leadership to show up to practice and stay process driven when it's hard to do that. I mean, those are things that these guys have bought into that have been in our program for multiple years. Let's try to take the emotion out of it the best we can, and let's just take each day for what it is and go attack it. And then you just stack some days to do that, and you give yourself a chance. And you can't do that though without buy-in from your top guys.
How do you keep that momentum going from everything you generated over the past year?
Well, it starts on the mound. I mean, that's really, I've said that throughout the course of the year. Your momentum is as good as your next day starting pitcher, and of them setting the tone. And everybody kind of plays complementary baseball off of your starting pitcher. And so that was obviously a big piece of the puzzle in that tournament. I don't know what the numbers are, but the ERA had to have been below a 3 in the tournament, and didn't give up a ton of runs, and just kind of allowed us to play team offense, knowing that if we can hold them down a little bit and eliminate the crooked number, we got a shot to win every game. So the momentum comes from the pitching.
Speaking of the seniors, for a guy like Chris to stay back up here after everything he's gone through and he's done for this program, what does it mean for him just to get another opportunity to go out there and improve himself?
Yeah, that was when we were kind of embracing after the game yesterday, him and I. It was just like I was thanking him for coming back, and he said, "Thank you for helping give me this experience." And so again, that's why I stand here and do this. It's I love to win, but I want my players to win. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And he could have moved on and signed a free agent contract and gone on and pitched in professional baseball, but he loves Nebraska. He loves his teammates. He's bought into what we're doing, and it's gratifying to know that he chose to come back, and he was such a huge part of making sure that we continue our season.
Is there a little added excitement for you, for the fans? You just get an old Big 12 rivalry, and what do you remember about those playing days?
We were talking about that earlier. There's some familiarity. Obviously, we played them last year. That feels like a long time ago, though, because that was maybe the opening weekend, I think, last year at Globe Life. So, there's, just the Nebraska-Oklahoma synonymous with football, and just some of the, like you said, the old rivalries. I think we played them maybe every year at Bricktown. Obviously have some good memories from playing in Bricktown.
Coach, I know it's early on in the season, but how did playing some SEC teams like Vanderbilt and LSU prepare you for the level of competitiveness you have to have against those types of teams?
Yeah, I think it gave our guys a glimpse of the physicality and and just the level of pitching and the depth that you're going to see when you face those teams, just from the power conferences, right? I mean, what the ACC and the SEC got 20 plus bids, this morning. So yeah, it's important. And we saw it early in the season, right? That was a kind of a different version of who we were at that point in time. And then throughout the year, just being tested by all these great teams and great arms, and you're going to take a lot of experience from that, because these guys have seen pitchers throwing 100 miles an hour this year, just about every weekend, it feels like.
What does it mean to be back-to-back Big Ten champions, especially when you look at the Pac-12 holding it, and you beat two of the best teams on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's awesome. Obviously, it feels great to feel like you're starting to get some consistency in terms of postseason play and making runs and some of those things. And yeah, it's just two totally different years, honestly, for me, just the way that they happen in the tournament. Doing it the hard way last year is maybe the last time that'll happen, just with the new format. And this year, just facing the number of really good teams and arms that we faced was like a regional, honestly. So huge for our players to be part of that. Something that we were in back-to-back championship games in 13 and 14 and fell just short. So yeah, it's awesome when you can put a ring on your finger and dogpile and those experiences that these guys will remember forever.
Hey, Will, you talk about experience in the NCAA tournament. Can you think of times when you were a player or other teams that you coached where you saw that pay off in the tournament, just little things?
Yeah, I just think you draw on your experiences with each weekend that you play, and when you play these teams that have future big leaguers on them, and you kind of take something from them. And you can either, whether you win a game or you play a tightly contested game, you kind of understand the level of play that it takes to win. And it just there's some similarities between all the teams that we've had that have found a way to win postseason tournaments. We've had veteran leadership, a lot of guys back returning. It always tends to work out to where it's the teams maybe that you least expect at times, where you just have some guys that are just fighting tooth and nail to do whatever it takes to win, and maybe a little overlooked at times. So it's just, like I said, this group's pretty special to stay together and continue to fight.
When you talk about how special this run has been, how much, both inside the lines, outside the lines, is the impact Greg Sharp has made on this program, and how you guys have tried to channel that this year?
Yeah, it was an emotional early part of the season, with his passing and just all the things that came along with that, and the Vanderbilt game, and just I think, thinking about the way the first game could have ended and it didn't end, you kind of just wonder if it was destiny, right? That we needed to continue to play, and that this team has more in front of it, and it's been, Greg was a good friend, and he was part of our team. That's the thing that I think I just want to continue to stress is, he just wasn't a guy that was there on the sidelines. I mean, these guys are with us all the time on the road and eating meals together and on bus rides together. And so it was really neat to see his family a couple different times down at Kansas State, when they honored him, and then back at our ballpark, and just hearing from them throughout the year. It was definitely a ride for Greg this year, and we're hopefully to continue that.
Coach, you mentioned Brett Stokes on Saturday and Sunday, and he probably didn't get as much playing time as he would have liked this year, but can you just speak about the teammate he's been over the course of this season?
Yeah, Rhett is, he can be, I think if he would be a really good coach one day if he wants to be. I think he just, he is a stoic young man. It's kind of a man of few words, but he knows the game really well. And I know he's been kind of behind the scenes helping Devin Nunez as a freshman, as have some of the other veterans as well, but just staying locked in, honestly. And, it's hard. You got a good team and you've got depth. There's going to be some guys that don't get as many at-bats as they would like. But the key is if you have a great attitude, when your chance comes, usually you make the most of it. And that's what you saw from Rhett this week, just stepping up when we needed him and driving in a big run yesterday. And the play in the ninth inning, I mean, I went back and watched it this morning. I mean, what a play for him to go all the way across the infield and make a play on the run. I mean, if that ends up being a hit, it's first and second, nobody out, and the bullpen starts getting going a little bit more. So yeah, he played a great third base all week, and certainly picked us up.
Before the season, you guys would have expected to be here this week, but how do you kind of flush the emotions of the last 48 hours while also holding on to what made it special?
Yeah, I just think that's the key, is just understanding the mindset that we've had to get to, that we've just got to continue. And I think, we didn't just do it for the last 4 games. I think that's the key. we've done it for. We've kind of felt that urgency, maybe even more so than last year, just because of where we were mid-season. So once the mindset flipped this season, I knew that we were going to have a chance to make a run, just because we had the talent. When Tucker came back, covered some innings for us on the mound, we felt like we had this in us to do this. Mindset's everything. No, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have guys that want to play for the team, it doesn't matter. So that mindset change is kind of what's going to continue to propel us.
Anything else stand out about the last week today you didn't yesterday, just with the benefit of a little sleep and separation?
Like I said, I think we played amazing defense all week. That was a big part of it, and to stay focused for the 4 games through a long rain delay. I thought the outfield play was incredible, and the infield play was really solid too, save for maybe like 1 inning I think on the week. And Holigzo was great behind the plate, so that stood out to me. I thought was a major difference for our team in that ballpark. To play great defense was important, not to give a lot of free bases. And just I'm proud of the hitters for stepping up, honestly, because again, you could throw your hands up and go, "Oh, can you believe it? You know, we played the 12 seed, but they've got the pitcher of the year." I mean, I know that was a narrative outside the lines, but inside our clubhouse, the guys were fired up for the challenge, and so we took that on, and I'm proud of those guys for not backing down from that and not making excuses as to why we couldn't get it done.
You've kind of talked about the search for complementary baseball most of the season. I guess how challenging has this year just been for you as a coach, and kind of trying to figure out which button to push and how to kind of get things finally rolling?
Very challenging, and again, you just get thrown so many different scenarios in certain years, right? I mean, last year, for the most part, we stayed healthy. I mean, there was not a whole lot of moving parts in our rotation. We were without Overbeek for a stretch last year, but we for the most part, we stayed relatively healthy. This year, that was thrown into the wind. I mean, it was like there was just so many different things that happened. Just the number of different identities that we were searching to become, I think, was a part of it. And again, just once we kind of got in the groove on the mound and kind of figured out who the guys were that we could really trust, that's when we started playing complementary baseball, because our innings became shorter on defense. We got back in the dugout. Then the hitters started getting going a little bit. So then they were able to feed off each other. Just for the first part of the year, especially until Tucker came back, honestly, it was just like so many long innings on defense, and it just really had a hard time keeping the momentum, for our offense to get going. So that's really where it started. And again, just dealing with the injuries with the lineup, I think the depth of really good players that we have allowed us to continue to just go. I mean, again, you lose Butenbeck for, the last 8 to 10 games, and we did fine, and Stoney hadn't played in a bit, and he was hitting the 4-hole for a good stretch. So just we have a depth of really good players, and it's like a chess match, right? You're just trying to find the right moves to help the team win, and ultimately that's the task as the head coach, is to put feelings and emotions aside about certain things and just do what's best for the greater good. And the hard part is getting the guys to understand that as well. And that's been, again, the back half of this season. What we've seen is just the buy-in of, okay, like, we need to win. This is how it's going to get done, and doing what it takes to do that.
Was Stone available last weekend?
He was available. I would imagine he's going to start feeling a lot better this week. There was still some swelling in there, and just seeing him swing. He got some live at-bats. I guess it was last Wednesday in one of our practice days, and still just wasn't moving the bat real good. I know he's feeling a lot better now. I think he'll be feeling a lot better by the weekend.
Coach, you guys got out to early leads in each of the last 3 games in the Big Ten tournament. How important is it to get out to an early lead here against a really good pitching staff at home?
Yeah, I think the statistics are pretty overwhelming. The team that scores first wins 75% of the time, or 3 out of 4, something like that. But yeah, it's just it's huge to just set the tone, honestly, and just get out and just kind of show, hey, we're here, we're ready to play. And if you don't score early, it doesn't mean you're not ready to play, but it is important, I think, just to have a great approach in the first inning, and that's what we had. Just where we were on the barrel early. The lack of the 1, 2, 3 innings over the course of the 9 innings was impressive to me. Just means you just keep fighting. So that's what we just got to keep doing.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thank you.
For Riley?
Bradley, what did you think of the draw, this first blush? What was the reaction from the team?
Yeah, honestly, we had, really no expectations going in, and then, just seeing us going to Chapel Hill, it'll be fun. The guys going out and experience everything over there, and just setting our eyes on Oklahoma. So it'll be fun.
What's the value for the team having gone to a regional last year and kind of knowing what goes into that?
Yeah, especially since we have so many guys coming back that were here last year. We'll help the guys that haven't been there yet, and we'll let them know how everything kind of works and get them settled in, and we're definitely going to make a run this year. So it'll be fun to watch.
Is there an example, like something that you learned that'll be helpful to know now?
Definitely. Especially last year, playing against a team like Florida, just don't go in being scared. Just go in, and we know that we're the better team and we're there for a reason, and we're gonna make a run. So.
Oklahoma's got a pretty strong starting pitcher. What is the experience of facing those high leverage guys in the Big Ten tournament do for you guys, just confidence-wise going into this week?
Yeah, we played 2 great pitching staffs, Oregon and Michigan State, the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, and we competed. We competed for basically just we were just good top to bottom, 1 through 9, and we were just ready to go. And I think it's definitely going to help us in the long run. So.
Riley, day after yesterday, what are your thoughts of how everything turned out?
Honestly, it's still kind of mind numbing. I think just again we had no expectations, and just going in there and doing the run that we had, still kind of surreal, just going back to back. I think the boys are loving it, and it's just again still just kind of surreal.
And what did it mean to have the big red support in the crowd?
Yeah. The fan base there definitely helped us win those games. You could feel it. You could feel it in the whole atmosphere. Like even in the field, just the Go Big Red chants. Kevin, our guy, he's definitely somebody that definitely helps us out, and he's definitely somebody that we kind of need at every game, because he'll get the crowd going, and he's just the guy that's there and just loves baseball and loves sports, and he's just the guy that you need, like I said. So.
What did it mean to be in the room with the boys today when you found out you're playing Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think we're just ready to set our sights there, and we're definitely locked in and ready to just go and compete and make a run.
Riley, with those expectations that you mentioned last week, how much consideration was given to the matchup and then just getting in?
Yeah, I think just it'll be fun to just finally keep playing, and we weren't ready to have our season cut short yet, so I think that we're getting hot at the right time, and there's nothing better to do than go win a regional.
You personally, with your relationship with Robbie, just seeing him make that catch yesterday and then go down and obviously not be able to finish the game, what were your emotions like, and how did he maybe respond in the dugout?
Yeah, I've been with Robbie for 2 years back at JUCO. Me and him have definitely a close relationship. So I just tried to help him out as much as I could, give him the love when he had to come out of the game. But he's set in his mind. He's a tough dog, and he's definitely going to come back, and he's going to definitely be a big player to watch.
The way your pitchers performed at the Big Ten tournament, how does that maybe, increase the confidence as you head now to the NCAA tournament?
Absolutely. Our pitchers definitely helped us those games. Tyner in the Big Ten game, just unbelievable out of him. That's the guy we've been wanting to see, and just seeing him do that is just unbelievable. Him doing that is just unbelievable. Like I said, so we have so much confidence in the pitchers and the hitters that we can make a run here.
You mentioned the momentum that you guys had last week this? Do you flip the page and it's a totally new thing?
I mean, I think you definitely want to keep the momentum going, but you kind of just got to put this in the past and just keep looking on to the future and just saying that our sights are on Oklahoma now, and it's just let's get to work on them and just keep going on from that.
You mentioned the harms that you guys faced in this past week in Omaha. Outside of Michigan State, you guys got to the other team's bullpens pretty quickly in those games. What do you think the key to that was, and how important do you feel like that's going to be to keep doing that going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I think, our hitters are definitely, we just kind of keep passing the torch. And I think just having everyone locked in from the top to the bottom of the lineup has definitely been something key for us recently. And I think that's just something that we got to keep doing.
Any more questions?
What, if anything, do you remember from that matchup with Oklahoma last year?
Honestly, I don't remember a whole lot, but I think it's just we got to just look on this year and just put our foot down and get ready to whoop them. So,
Thanks, Riley.
thank you, guys.
You should probably clarify the dog pile yesterday. Those were your legs.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I've seen some photos, and yeah, those are definitely my legs. I wanted to go in cleats up so nobody got hurt, but yeah, that's me up there doing the splits backwards or whatever it was.
What was that like? That experience, finishing that thing off the way you guys did?
That was awesome, and I think just that whole run from the bullpen down to the top of that dog pile, I was just kind of looking around the stadium and just looking up to the sky, and I think I was running with my hands out like this and just trying to take in all the feelings and all the emotions that kind of came and culminated at the end of that game, not only throughout that tournament, but just kind of throughout this season, and being able to win that one and be able to play another day. I think that was just an amazing feeling, and I was trying to soak it all in. So that's a run that I'll remember for a while.
Are you guys playing your best baseball right now that you have all season?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can look back at the last month and a half, 2 months, and I think we really started to play complementary baseball. We've talked about that a lot this season as a group. And I think we've really figured out what that means for us. And when the offense can go out and score, it's the pitcher's job to go and hang zeros. And if they get off to a slow start, then it's our job to hold them and let our offense score first. And I think we're figuring that piece out, and we're confident in how we're playing right now.
You personally, when you came off the mound on Saturday, not knowing if you were going to throw again, I mean, what were the emotions like then and now getting a chance to pitch again? I mean, how excited are you for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think coming off that mound, the first thing I could think of what I was feeling was just like gratitude and looking around at the however many thousand people were there and just kind of absorbing that all and the memories of the last 4 years. And I had a feeling that it wasn't going to be my last time, but I just wanted to take it all in case it was. Take a look down at Broderick coming in. You feel pretty good every time you see him coming down. So being able to keep on playing, I think, is something that I'm super grateful for. This thing, when it's gone, I think a lot of guys just yearn for the days where they can be with their teammates and play a sport that they love and represent a state that they love and a team that they love. And so to be able to do that again, I think, is something that I'm super grateful for.
How dangerous do you feel like that can make a team this time of year when you have multiple guys out of the bullpen, that can go multiple innings and get clean innings?
Yeah, I think that's a big advantage for our pitching staff especially. We've really carved out some roles for our guys, and guys know what is expected of them, whether that's coming in and bridging an inning and striking out a left-on-left matchup, like Grant does a lot for us, or whether it is going kind of extended in relief. I mean, you saw it with Tucker, comes in game one, goes extended relief, able to flip him back into a start. We just got a lot of guys who can do a lot of stuff for the team, and I think that's what kind of makes our bullpen and our pitching staff special, is that whatever we're asked to do, guys are going to do it, and they don't really care one way or another what their role is as long as they're helping the team.
What's the value of having so many guys back from last year's team that went through that regional experience? I mean, where do you kind of see the biggest benefit of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year you kind of noticed a little bit. You're going into a regional for a lot of the guys for the first time, and you're a little bit wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and it's a big environment and against some name brand teams, and it's a little shocking when you first get there. But I think guys know what to expect. We're a little bit more locked in and dialed into what it needs to look like when you go to one of these regionals. And I think for us, it's what we've been doing in the tournament baseball and in the Big Ten tournament, and what we've been doing this last month, just staying focused on us and worrying about the next inning and the next pitch, and just going from there.
Going off of that, is there any sort of like a house money type feeling, like it's just like that week ago you weren't supposed to be here, you got a national title contender in your region, and sort of the pressure's not really on you guys this weekend? Is there a feeling like that?
Yeah, I think for us, no matter what the scenario is going to be, we're going to be focused in on us, and I think that's something that no matter where you're at, where you're playing, who you're playing, it's going to give you the advantage when you can keep all the attention and focus on yourselves. And I think that's what we've done a really good job of. Obviously these past couple games, but just this last month or so, and I think that's not going to change going into the regional.
As a guy who grew up around the football program, does it get your attention a little bit when you see Oklahoma on the other side?
Yeah. You see Oklahoma, you see Florida last year. They like to go back to these big time football name matchups, I guess. But yeah, it's exciting. Obviously, I'm sure Pops played against them back in the day a little bit, so I'll try and get him back. We gotta get one from last year too.
Any more questions?
Thanks, Drew.
Yep. Thank you.